AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell and the like. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with
No. The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't. But she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why I'm saying that.
AOC is facing a lot of criticism right now, and it's getting intense. Bill Maher recently called her out on TV, saying she's full of anti-American talk, and the moment quickly went viral. A lot of people agreed with him and think AOC is all talk with not much real knowledge behind it. Her speeches and interviews are being picked apart. And many believe she's not prepared to answer basic questions, especially on big issues like Israel and Palestine.
One of my favorite interviews was when AOC was talking to that lady and she asked her to expand.
About Israel-Palestine?
Oh my God.
Well, I believe absolutely in Israel's right to exist.
She just collapsed into herself?
It's literally like a fifth grader that didn't study.
Look at that incident more through just as an incident.
And then they ask you about the subject, or you didn't read the book. Well, it's about Billy and his dog.
What people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, is...
But the crazy thing about that interview is that her first comment comes off with total authority.
I am a proponent of a two-state solution.
One little follow-up question. Question's like, well, what do you mean by that? And then you just see her get weaker and weaker.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
But what do you mean about that? It's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, man. Yeah. And she literally goes, I'm really not the expert.
Do you think you can expand on that? I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
Economy, immigration, or climate change. One moment people keep pointing. Two is an old interview where AOC started off confident about the Israel-Palestine conflict. But the second the interviewer asked her to explain what she meant, she seemed unsure and admitted she wasn't an expert. Critics say this happens a lot with her. She uses big phrases and strong statements. But when asked to explain, she stumbles or changes the subject. Bill Maher and even Joe Rogan have said she comes off more like a social media, a T, personality than a real political leader. They think her image is based more on slogans and social media than actual knowledge or policy ideas. When she's caught off guard, her answers are confusing and full of trendy words. But they don't really say much. One example was when she defended fellow Democrat Jamal Bowman, who pulled a fire alarm in the Capitol.
Here she is.
And I think if you actually do see some of the photos of the signs, I think there's something to be said about the government's about to shut down. There's a vote clock that's going down. The exits that are normally open in that building were suddenly closed.
Suddenly.
So
you pull the fire alarm?
So what I'm here to say is that
What I'm
House
here to say
Administration and U.S. Capitol Police and Jamal Bowman are an active, and he's fully participating and saying there was a misunderstanding. But what I do think is
hold on. He's active and fully participating in saying that there was a misunderstanding.
He was actively.
That is not our language.
No, he was.
What language is that? She is delightfully stupid. I know people don't like her. I understand that.
Right.
But I just find her just wonderful. She's so dumb.
Her explanation was so strange and unclear that even her supporters were left confused. Her habit of using complex phrases without clear meaning is becoming more obvious, and many people are losing patience with it. AOC recently called for investigations and possibly impeaching some Supreme Court judges, saying they need more oversight. But critics pointed out that the Constitution doesn't give Congress that kind of power over the Supreme Court. This made her seem like she didn't fully understand how government works. In the end, some people find her energy and passion genuine, but also think she's out of her depth. To them, it's like watching someone try really hard to sound smart without truly knowing the topic. It might seem cute at first, but they worry that this kind of leadership could do real damage if it's all style and no substance.
AOC has called for the investigating and possible impeaching of members of the Supreme Court. Here's what she said.
I believe that we should be considering subpoenas. We should be considering investigations. There also must be impeachment on the table, and the Supreme Court has not been receiving the adequate oversight necessary in order to preserve their own legitimacy.
Where in the Constitution do you find oversight? One branch is the watchdog of the other branch? I don't think so. That's not the way it works.
A lot of people don't like AOC, but I really do love the earnestness of her stupidity. Like, there's something really charming about how hard she's trying. It's like watching your 14-year-old give a speech about something they don't really fully understand. It's like, it's kind of cute. It's adorable in a very, society-destroying sort of way.
This is exactly what people like Bill Maher have been pointing out for a while now. AOC isn't as smart or genuine as the media makes her out to be. She talks a lot about helping working people, but then she shows up at fancy events wearing designer clothes, rubbing shoulders with the same rich people she claims to be fighting against. That's not real activism. Looks more like she's acting for attention. So when people started saying she might replace Kamala Harris, a lot of us were shocked. Didn't make sense. AOC talks loud and posts strong opinions online, but when she's asked serious questions, she often can't give clear answers. She's the future of the Democratic Party. They may be in more trouble than they realize. Bill Maher's criticism made people look closer, and now even her supporters.
People love AOC. People love Jasmine Crockett. People love Eric Swalwell and the like. And I think that the Democratic Party should put the people out there who the people want. They should put the politicians out there who the people want, who they're asking for, who are meeting the moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with are.
No. The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't. But she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why it's...
Seem unsure? Don Lemon said people want AOC to be a leader. But when Bill pushed back and said most people don't like her, Don suddenly changed his tune and admitted even the people he parties with don't like her. That's not confidence. That's panic. Trying to promote AOC as a serious leader feels desperate. It's like trying to convince people to buy something they don't want or need. Don Lemon trying to sell the idea only makes things worse, especially since he's been struggling to stay in the spotlight. It's come up, some argue, that people support AOC and Trump for the same reason, because they seem real. But Bill Maher disagrees. He doesn't believe AOC's story about growing up poor and struggling. He says she presents herself as someone who came from nothing.
People will vote for AOC and Donald Trump on the same ticket. Because they're authentic. No, because they're authentic.
I don't think that Don.
I think you're wrong about that.
What people like about people like Trump and Fetterman is because it's irrelevant to her life.
But you don't know her life.
I know that being a gorgeous woman who I wouldn't even know was Hispanic in a city that has 1 million Hispanics and does not treat them badly.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't struggle. That doesn't mean that she was set down.
It implies it.
But that doesn't mean that she was set down in a Hispanic ghetto in the Bronx and had to deal with that growing up, and that she's come from a working class family.
It implies it implies that in some way she's behind the 8 ball because of that, and it's just not true.
But in reality, her background was fairly comfortable. Her father made decent money. She had access to good opportunities growing up. So while AOC might still have fans, more and more people are starting to question if she's really who she says she is. AOC talks a lot about standing up for working class people, but her actions often tell a different story. She goes to high-end events, wears expensive clothes, and hangs out with wealthy elites, the same people she claims to fight against. That makes it hard to take her message seriously. It feels more like she's acting for attention than standing up for real causes. Then there was Don Lemon trying to compare AOC to Donald Trump by saying both are authentic. That doesn't really add up. Like him or not.
And so
I don't know if she's behind the 8 ball, but I don't think she's as privileged as many people who are in Congress right now.
It's not privilege or not. She was a bartender.
Yeah.
You know, so I was
So, look, I
I
don't
was a
agree with her
delivery boy.
policies, but I'm saying sometimes, Bill, like you don't agree with Donald Trump's policies.
No,
but that's what the people want.
Some of them.
Whether you like her or not, I don't like what she did with Amazon in New York, but I think AOC she's a Democratic icon.
Well,
People
she's
love
the
her.
wrong. If you think that's the direction the country, the Democratic.
I'm not saying the policies that she espouses that's the
Don?
direction, but I'm saying that you have to give the people who are out front speaking for the party, not the people who are.
If you think
she's evolving,
yeah, she's evolving,
and
as we all are,
and she is moving into
right.
She understands the game a little bit more, and if you notice, she is sort of becoming a sort of normal kind of Democrat in many ways.
Yes.
I think she's evolving.
Okay, great.
She's a very smart tactic. She's very smart.
Trump says what he thinks, unfiltered and direct. AOC, on the other hand, often comes across as carefully scripted and overly polished, more like a brand than a real person. Bill Maher continued pointing this out, saying AOC didn't grow up as poor as she claims. She had opportunities that many people never get. Her background wasn't full of struggle, like she often says. She wasn't growing up in harsh poverty. She had a comfortable upbringing and a good education. Later in the conversation, Don Lemon kept changing his stance, saying, the Democrats should just give people the leaders they want, even if those leaders are unqualified or dangerous. That kind of thinking is risky. Just because someone is popular doesn't mean they're the right choice for serious leadership. Popularity shouldn't come before principle. Then there was a moment.
Madam Ranking Member, here we are today. Republicans who have voted consistently against the Violence Against Women Act, who have taken away the right of all women to choose and have control over their own body, who, as women are bleeding out in parking lots across the country, standing there, allowing us to die, now want to pretend today that they care about women. And why? To open up gender and, yes, genital examinations into little girls in this country in the so-called name of attacking trans girls. And to that, today, what we have to say are two words: not today.
Where AOC gave a heated speech, accusing Republicans of not caring about women and wanting to inspect children's bodies in the name of banning trans girls from sports. That argument didn't make sense and only made things more dramatic. No one is actually pushing for anything like that. The real debate is about fairness in women's sports, not about invading anyone's privacy. But AOC turned it into a huge, emotional moment. It's made it seem like people fighting for fair sports rules are bigots or hateful, which isn't true. She uses dramatic words and strong emotions to make her case. But when you listen closely, the facts just aren't there. Her speeches often sound powerful at first, but once you focus on what she's actually saying, it falls apart in another clip. She blamed CEOs and others for loving a bill she doesn't support, again using dramatic language without much logic.
Who loves this bill? Yes, bigoted folks love this bill. Assaulters love this bill. But also, CEOs love this bill. Because Los Angeles is on fire right now. And this is the #1 priority this majority has. Thank you, and I yield back.
She paints anyone who disagrees with her as hateful or evil, instead of having an honest discussion about different points of view. This is how AOC works: loud, emotional, dramatic, but without much real substance behind it. Her speeches are more about creating moments for social media than solving real problems. Don Lemon and others tried to defend her, but even they seem unsure of what they're actually defending. In the end, AOC's act is wearing thin. She talks a lot, but says very little that actually helps people. Bill Maher simply pointed that out, and now more people are starting to see it too. The more she speaks, the more it's clear. She's not the future of politics. She's just a distraction.